Airlines has been taking some heat this week after refusing to let two teenage girls wearing leggings board a flight. United said the girls, who were flying for free under an employee pass program, did not meet dress code regulations and were asked to change or put on a dress over the leggings.
Now on the KOGO News Live line with us to talk about the fallout and, whatever legal implications there are, we have our legal expert, attorney, San Diego State business ethics lecturer, Wendy Patrick. Wendy, a lot of people are seizing on this as an example of sexism. Is it?
Well, that, LaDona, you've really nailed one of the most important questions, because we have finally gotten past the misunderstanding that these were just two passengers. United finally was able to get the information forward. These were pass holders, and the gate agent wasn't functioning as the clothing police looking at jet-setting flights fashion. She was actually enforcing the rules regarding what types of clothing pass holders are and are not allowed to wear. But you're correct in that it sparked a deeper discussion as to, okay, we understand that there are these regulations, but do they adversely and unfairly impact women? And I got to tell you, you and I, and you joke about being old. You are not old enough to remember the days, neither am I, but there was a time when everybody dressed up to fly. It was a luxury. It was something that people did not as a matter of course as we do today, but as a privilege, and everybody dressed up. You got to wonder whether some of these flight pass holder regulations were instituted back in the day, and maybe they're antiquated. Maybe they're not, but I got to tell you, behind closed doors, you got to know every other airline is looking at their rules and regulations to see what those policies actually say. They're not challenged very often.
Well, but so if it was an example of sexism, though, then a guy who was wearing, let's say, bike shorts, or biking pants would be allowed on, and the girls wouldn't. And I have a feeling United would go, yeah, you're not getting on the plane like that.
I can say, Wendy, there is a friend of mine who's a radio host on Facebook who said he flies the same way on these free, what are they called? Employee pass program. He said he had on, I think it was a polo shirt, and they turned him away. They said, you need a button-down shirt and a coat.
Yeah, and Ted, this is exactly the way the pendulum is swinging on this story. Is at first there was viral outrage, everybody reacted emotionally without even knowing the facts. Now you're right, there's an influx on many different websites of pass holders of all ages coming forth and saying, I wasn't allowed to board either because I am a brand ambassador when I am flying on as a pass holder on a particular airline. You're representing the airline. Now, it's unfortunate all around that these girls were tweens, right? They were like 10 or 11, and that's unfortunate. And that leads to some of the emotional reaction we've seen on Twitter. Nobody wants to see little girls being discriminated against. Their choice of leggings was not some sex object type of selection. It was comfort. And it's interesting to know that, all the airlines came forward with these regulations, but also said, hey, leggings and yoga pants, whatever you want to call them, that's standard fare for passengers. It's just like you say, these pass holders have to follow the rules.
But, and here's the thing. It's like, okay, so these girls were dressed however they were dressed, but ultimately some adult gave them the pass and they had to know the rules.
I know, and that's been all over the net, too, is that an adult who is, by the way, the man traveling with them was not a pass holder, who was a passenger, and he had shorts on, so you can't make that distinction because there were different rules. But you're right. I mean, the adults with whom young people travel should take it upon themselves to know the rules, to enforce the rules. There's been a lot of press lately that airlines should make absolute sure that their employees and pass holders know where to find the rules. It shouldn't be some obscure link on a website. It should be front and center to make sure that nothing like this happens again. And it's also a good idea every 5 years or so to reevaluate the clothing standards to make sure that they're updated and that they're fair. And as you pointed out, LaDona, that they don't unfairly discriminate against one gender or another.
All right, Wendy, thank you so much. That is our legal expert, attorney, and San Diego State business ethics lecturer, Wendy Patrick.
It is 8:16, and if you're